From the 915 to H-Town, from the Panhandle Plains to the Valley, and everywhere in between. This is the 50/50 Podcast, powered by College Promoters USA. Join me, Hector Cano, as we cover the Texas high school club and college soccer landscape, along with an inside look at the college soccer recruiting scene. The 50/50 Podcast is a platform about the people and for the people who are dedicated to the beautiful game.
College Promoters USA, founded and located in San Antonio, operates as the only family-owned college recruiting company in Texas that brings a truly professional, local, and face-to-face approach to area high school student athletes and their families. If your son or daughter is serious about college athletics, call them at 210-494-6363 or visit collegepromotersusa.com anytime. College Promoters USA, the best investment a parent can make in their high school student athletes.
And we're back. It's another edition of Inside Texas High School Soccer, episode 6. We are joined by the man himself, Rafa C., Mr. Paposakaritis. Coach, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you doing today, Coach?
I don't know, man. I'm feeling like I didn't dress up, man. You got no cap. You went like you're letting the full hair flow down, and I'm just kind of here. I don't know, man. I don't feeling a little insufficient, man. So anyway, we didn't come here to talk about grooming standards. So day 1 in the books. First day of state championship week. They're in Georgetown at Birkelbach Field. So we're going to do our 4A wrap-up. We're going to look at our 4 matches here. Initial thoughts before we dive into specific matches.
Interesting matchups. We had a couple, the 2 favorites, one of them the defending champs and one that's been balling, with a bunch of goals in the playoffs and then one that took down a state finalist from last year and an unknown from East Texas, that's making its first appearance. So it set up a good scenario. So that's for the girls' side. We weren't sure what to expect, and the same thing with the boys' side. You can say we have the defending champs again, and a couple upstarts coming, into the state tournament. And like I said, it was going to be a great first day of soccer.
Yeah, and one real quick note is shout out to our proud partners, College Promoters USA. We're powered by College Promoters USA. So again, for those of you not familiar with College Promoters USA, they are America's premier college prep program and high school student athlete marketing service since 1997. Those of you in San Antonio, Austin area, Central Texas, South Central Texas area, you can find them here locally in San Antonio in the Ventura Plaza Shopping Center. You can also find them on social media, on Twitter at SATX Recruiting, as well as on Instagram at College Promoters USA. You can also get more information on them and see what they're about on their website at collegepromotersusa.com. So, yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there as far as kind of interesting how were certain teams going to match up. Very strong names. We knew it was going to be. You look at game 1 there in Salina and Bernie. Salina comes in 27-1-1 on the season. Bernie 23-5. Salina district champion. Bernie runner-up. Doesn't win their district title for the first time in a while. So I don't know. There was, I guess, dare I say, a lot of naysayers or people that weren't quite believing in them to get to this point. So, but. We talk about pedigree, right? We talk about name, we talk about culture. So this was a great matchup to watch. So initial thoughts, this one plays out, obviously, final score being Salina 3, Bernie 0. But in that process, it was interesting in terms of how it played out because Salina clearly had the upper hand. Bernie did have some chances, but Salina attack had the Bernie goalkeeper Kinsley Sawyer peppered her with obviously significant amount of shots, so much so shout out to Kinsley setting the new UIL state for new UIL record by a goalkeeper for saves in a state tournament game with 12. Who she previous record was 10, so she had 12 saves on the day, and so that tells part of the story, right? In terms of not an indictment on Bernie's defense, but more so of just the overwhelming power, I guess, of the Salina attack. And they've been kind of in the mix. They've been, they were trying to break through past this point, so now they've kind of blown past where they stopped last year when they ran into Midlothian in the state semifinal. What are your thoughts on this match?
Oh man, you got to give credit to Kinsley Sawyer. Only a freshman. That's the scary part there. Only a freshman to have 12 saves. The freshman that have 12 saves in a state Final Four is something there. And I'm sure the college scouts are already taking a look at her. For the next couple of years. And Bernie, like I said, I think Bernie knew they were the underdog, and they were just going to go in with no fear. And like I said, the pressure wasn't really on them; it was more on Salina. Can Salina deliver through? Because, like I said, they've been buzzsawing through games, and like I said, this was going to be a test, and you got to give kudos to Bernie. And like I said, it wasn't always even though it was a 3-0 game, Bernie gave it its all, and like I said, they had their chances. And what to say, if they get one of those chances, that could have changed the momentum of the game and even the outcome of the game. Because like I said, Bernie's got the tradition with the soccer. They finally got back into the state tournament for the girls' side, and but kudos to their coach Leach and the staff and the team. And I'm sure they're going to be back next year because they bring in about a lot of players back. So keep an eye out for them. And like I said, kudos to Salina, and let's see if they'll finish it off on Thursday.
Yeah, the interesting thing too with Salina is how they can beat you with obviously just multiple players with tons of goals on the season, obviously. But they're one of their their standout player, Texas Tech commit Taylor Z. Out of respect for her, I won't attempt to butcher her last name, but they were talking about, I was hearing on the broadcast where they were talking about how she was just not quite on today, and yet she still had a goal, and they had two other goal scorers, three different players that also had the assists on those goals. So that should tell you how well balanced Salina is as well. So the other interesting note, not taking anything away from Salina, because clearly we've talked about just the incredible firepower they have and how they can score quickly, they can score in bunches, and they score often. But also the fact that Bernie was missing their leading goal scorer, who had to sit out because of caution, two cautions. Unfortunate in that regional final versus Cal Allen. I know you and we've had that conversation a good bit as far as being able to adjust the rules in terms of UIL when it comes to cards. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they should for the state final. I think if it's 2 yellows, I think it should be a clean slate. Now, if it's a straight red, maybe it's something like a violent straight red, then yeah, they do need to sit out. But I think for 2 yellows, or that card of yellow accumulation, they should have a clean slate. They do it in the Champions League, and they go to the second round. So I think they should do the same thing for this, because you don't want the players. Like I said, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to play in the state tournament, and you never know, you'll get another chance. And I think for her to miss out, and not only hurt, it kind of hurt, not say it hurt her team, but who's to say, her presence could have made a difference in the game. Yeah, and the game could have been a lot, the result would have been a lot different, if let's say she got on it and so forth. So maybe that's something, like I said, the UIL does need to look at for next year. It's like, if it's just yellow card accumulation, you need to just go ahead and give them a clean slate. But if it's a red card, like a straight red for about, then go ahead and have them sit out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just unfortunate for that young lady, unfortunate for Bernie, because you want all these teams. I mean, the same thing goes with injuries, right? You want these teams to be kind of firing on all cylinders, having all their personnel for the best matchups, right? The best, because I think this is where everyone wins, in terms of in the spirit of competition at this level, but also for the fans, for the supporters, for the families. So yeah, no doubt. But um, so congratulations to the Salina Bobcats. They will advance to play in tomorrow's state final versus the winner of our next match, which we will discuss. But I think it's pretty safe to say that, as you and I had discussed already, we'll be hearing from the Greyhounds, from Bernie again, because they are only graduating 2 seniors, right? So a lot more to come from them next year in the future. They're still growing, they're still learning, so they'll definitely have a say. They'll definitely have a say in the matter next year as well. So obviously districts will look different, but we talk about that pedigree, we talk about that culture and that commitment to excellence. So yeah, no doubt we'll be hearing from the Greyhounds again. So congratulations to Bernie on a great season as well. So all right, Coach. So we talked about the winner, Salina. They will advance to play the winner of our next match here, which we discussed. So the 1:30 p.m. I should say girls match between Midlothian Heritage and Lumberton. Uh, this was an interesting one for a number of reasons. Midlothian Heritage wins it, final score of 4-1. But what were your initial thoughts on this one?
Yeah, just kind of getting the early reports of the game, like some tweets. Lumberton led the game, which was a shock because Midlothian Heritage is the defending state champion. They they bring a lot to the table in this game and so forth. And for Lumberton, like I said, the first ever trip to this Final Four, you know, it's a good to have the lead on the state champ. It's a good confidence booster. But I think when it comes down to this game, and you've mentioned this before, it comes down to coaching. Who has the best coaching? Who can make the right tactical changes in the games and to do what they need to do, or within the game itself, even after halftime, or even during the games. So, and that's what it came down to as far as the result of this game.
Yeah, from my perspective, I got, in kind of coming in and out, being able to watch some of this one, covering it, and again, reports as well, talking with people there on site. What we were witnessing, what we were seeing there it was essentially a tale. It was a tale of two halves, right? So first half, Lumberton takes an early lead and leads at the half. And then all of a sudden, you talked about that piece in terms of Coach Slav, right? Coaching for Midlothian Heritage, having been there before, right? Having been in this exact situation last year, having made that trip and all the way through experiencing these tough matchups, all the way to last year's state title. So, and Midlothian, you got the impression when I was watching it too, that Midlothian Heritage was, the Jaguars weren't rattled, they were a little frustrated. Things weren't coming as easy as simple, but that was also a very good Lumberton, Lady Raider squad. So that's not taking anything away from them, but they come out, start the second half, and I want to say within 22 seconds, you have to check. We'll have to check the timestamp on that, but I think it was within 22 seconds. They immediately Heritage gets a goal right out of the gate, and then and that was from Jules Burrows. Jules Burrows then comes back within 5 minutes later. She bags a second one, and that leverage, or that momentum, I should say, had just completely swung the other way. You start seeing it in the body language from Midlothian Heritage as well as Lumberton, and then they were able to, third one they were able to strike again. little later in the half, and then they get a fourth one that I think officially goes down as an own goal. But
Mhm.
Jules Burrows from Midlothian Heritage, he just really just in many ways took command of that match. But also, you know, two other players really that I think very important to recognize in terms of this game, but also a group was Paisley Mabra and the back line from the back line of Midlothian Heritage and Tanner Sorensen, goalkeeper for Midlothian. That defense from Midlothian is very, very stingy, very organized. You talk about Jolie Godfrey there as well. I know I'm not covering all of their defensive players, but that back line is very organized, very good. Paisley had was a game saving play, game saving or goal saving, I should say, tackle as well. And so they were able to organize. I think more of the shock initially was no disrespect to Lumberton, but them being able to get that lead quickly on a defense as good as Midlothian's, and then Midlothian, and they adjusted and they responded. So I think that was really the big thing. And then second half, especially those last, I'd say about 25 minutes, Midlothian just completely breaks it open, takes control, and you could just tell it was kind of that shock factor in terms of Lumberton.
Yeah, so when it comes to, I guess like I said, experience, and I guess this team experience, the scary part of this is most of this Lothian Heritage team are underclassmen, especially that defense and the goalkeeping.
Yeah.
So they're going to be good again next year. And but kudos to the coaches staff. They made the right tactical changes in the second half, and I guess they must have saw something that they were able to exploit within 22 seconds of it. And I think for Lumberton, that's never been there. Had it been there maybe the other way around, let's say Lumberton scored on Midlothian, I think Midlothian would have been able to settle down because, like I said, they've been there. Okay, no biggie. They scored on us. Let's just get back on track. This on the other hand, because this is the first time being in this, being on this stage, they didn't know how to react to this. Okay, are we fine? Are we fine? Can we still hey, let's absorb this. We can still win this game, or was doubt put on their mind after this
Right.
goal, and then it showed. And like I said, the experience pulled everything off for them for Midlothian Heritage, and they end up getting the win.
Yeah, yeah. So, congratulations. Obviously, congratulations to the Lumberton Raiders. Great season. And I know they managed to pull off some eye openers along the way, and they just went on a tremendous run, and they just happened to draw the defending state champions here, and they still put forth a serious fight, especially in
Mm-hmm.
that second half. I think it got a lot of people by surprise. So, congratulations to them on making a great run and qualifying, making it to the state tournament. So now that sets up a matchup between kind of the one I know in our conversations, you and I, this was kind of the one that I had been discussing with you. I had been eyeballing, and um, I had the impression, I'm not the only one, obviously, but I had the impression that these two teams were on this collision course to meet. And the way it all played out as far as with the regions too, it's fallen to where they meet here. These two teams, there's a history here. These two teams met here in the state tournament last year in the semifinal, in which obviously Midlothian Heritage prevailed on their way to win a state title versus Cal Allen. But now, so a little bit different. You see a Salina team that is even stronger, that believes in themselves a lot more, has set all kinds of scoring records in the 4A classification and in the state, has a great standout player and multiple very strong supporting standout players as well. So it'll be Salina for in the 4A final versus a very strong defending champion, very good, very stingy, very organized defense in Midlothian Heritage, who are also the defending state champions. What are your thoughts on that one?
That game is going to be, I think, the one everyone's looking forward to. I think they've circled that for quite a while. They wanted to see, especially like last year, they wanted to kind of see that should have probably been the final, but it wasn't, because of different circumstances. But now they have that. Now it's a really more meaningful game because it's for the title. So I think this game, for Salina, what they've done has been impressive. They've gone have just scored goals by the bunches. Now are they going to meet their match tomorrow? Probably. Always the saying goes, defense wins championships, and Midlothian Heritage has a stingy defense. But one thing about this, I think Salina, in order for them to win this game, they have to turn into a shootout. A high scoring game favors them. It gets to 4, 5, 6 goals. Salina's got the firepower for that. But if it comes down to a drag out, like a 0-0, 1-0 type of game, or it goes to overtime, it's going to favor Midlothian, because that's just the type of team they are. They find a way to win, but they use the defense to set that up to get that win. So it's going to be a great matchup tomorrow, and it's a little shame that they're playing it in between a couple semifinals.
Right.
I think they should have. I think that needs to be showcased like an evening, as an evening game. It's only fair for them. Let the other semifinals play during the day. But it's going to be a great game, and I'm gonna give the edge a little bit to Midlothian as far as just they've been there, they got the defense, but like I said, as far as tipping this go, it can go either way. It's who's gonna enforce their will as far as their style of play. Whoever has control of that is gonna win the game.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna make for a phenomenal matchup for sure. So that match will take place tomorrow in Georgetown, there at Birkelbach Field at approximately 2:30 p.m. We'll have to check the forecast on that as well, just to see, hey, is it going to be hot and muggy or what? What I know we'll look at the forecast for that again as well. But yeah, this should be every bit a match that's worthy of a state final. So I personally think we're in for a classic here. It's just we talk about that unstoppable force versus the immovable object, right? That Salina attack, record-setting attack versus, that Midlothian defense that just, that they're tough, they're gritty, they're organized, they work well together, they understand each other. There's a ton of chemistry there. The more you watch them, the more you appreciate it. And obviously, and they can score, they can finish as well, but and they're the state champion, right? So Salina, that's the one factor, right? We talked about it before, is now they're on the biggest stage, on the big stage, right? Is in terms of the state final, is hopefully, we're hoping the moment doesn't become too much for them in terms of the jitters and the nerves, and that they just come to play as well. And yeah, but they're ultimately going to have to take it from the state champion, because I promise you, Midlothian's not just gonna, Heritage isn't gonna just lay down, so I think we'll be in for a classic there. So again, that matchup will take place tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. and that will be, as Rafa mentioned, in between the 5A girls semifinals and the boys set of semifinals. So it's kind of sandwiched in there in between. So, and that'll be at approximately 2:30 p.m. depending upon what time those first two matches finish up. So, all right. So we move on to the boys, Coach. So the interesting one that was first got a lot of people's attention and then just kind of went off the rails, right? The defending state champion, the other defending state champion here, the Greyhounds, Bernie Greyhounds, and Stafford. What were your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, when I got the tweet about the Stafford taking the lead, like, oh, what's going on here? I said, hey, maybe Stafford is for. I'm not saying they're not for real, but hey, Stafford, Mays, maybe on a mission to knock off Bernie, and then a couple tweets later, it's halftime, it's 2-1, and then I get a couple of other tweets. It's 4-1, and then it's 6-1, and then I get the 7-1. I was like, wow. What can you say about Bernie? This is not the first time they've done this. They did this to Progresso. They, like I said, Progresso thought, we got this in the bag, and they allowed 8 straight goals. I think Taylor, kind of the same thing with Taylor. Taylor felt the wrath. I mean, if you can't say a team of destiny, I mean, Bernie's the team of destiny. I think they have the soccer gods on their side, and just nothing phases them. And that's the thing, when you've already won it, and like I said, like Coach Strong mentioned it, when you've already won it, really nothing does phase you, because all right, yeah, they scored on us. Fine, we've been here before. We know what we need to do. No biggie, and that's the attitude that this team has. And I think, and I'm wondering how if it got Stafford, how do they felt to give up that second goal, and after that it just basically fell apart.
And it was late. It was late in the first half too, and they were playing incredibly well. And there's something to be said. You've been there before, right? You're playing an extremely strong opponent, and you can make the argument that you've outplayed them for large spurts of a half, and then you go into halftime losing. That's tough, right? That's got to be tough.
Yeah, and then for them to kind of take it up a notch in the second half, to go in a 5-goal spurt, they just flexed their muscle. And I think not to put Stafford down, they probably lost a lot of confidence after that second goal,
right,
going into the halftime. And I think they didn't know how to recover from it, because I said they haven't been to this point, and and they don't have that experience. But this is a coachable moment and a teachable moment for them. If they do come back next year, like I say, hey, have that feeling, that hurt feeling. Okay, now we know what it feels like. We know what we need to do to fix this. So kudos, like I said, to Stafford for making it this far. And like I said, they're gonna learn from this, and they're gonna, like I said, they're one of the top programs for Region 3. So you're not gonna see them go anywhere. So they'll be in contention for that. But just kudos. Just Bernie's just at another level. I mean, and as far as whether like I said, the next opponent for them, which we'll talk about, whether it's Salina or Stephenville, good luck, because it's gonna have, like I said, you're gonna have to really go above and beyond to knock these guys off.
Yeah, they are firing on all cylinders. And Coach Strong said it. I think that's with them the most impressive. Obviously, they're talented, they're skilled, they're disciplined, but the most all of that collectively, what's most impressive about them is just is a mentality, right? Is just the culture piece. Coach Strong has built a fine-tuned machine there, and it's almost like they're 1 minute they're in a game, they kind of lose focus a little bit, and then they regain focus, and they just instantly they can flip a switch, So that's interesting. 7 unanswered goals. They scored 2. They scored the first one to tie it versus Stafford with about halfway through the first half. Even though in large spurts you can argue Stafford was outplaying them. And then I want to say with maybe about 6 minutes left, if I'm not mistaken, on that one, they get the second goal to take the lead right before the half. And in many ways, you don't want to maybe say it was demoralizing, but it was made it extremely tough for Stafford. So they, Bernie goes in at halftime with the lead 2-1, and then just comes right back out and just methodically just starts tearing them apart, and 5 more unanswered goals in the second half for a total of 7 unanswered goals. So that score, or that match, finishes Bernie 7, Stafford 1. But just a tremendous shout out to to the Stafford Spartans. Congratulations on a great season. You've made a great run and you ran into also a state champion that still has a lot of fight in them. And the interesting thing about today's matches, Coach, is we talk about how on both the girls' side and the boys' side, the defending state champion that was still obviously here at the state tournament, they both went down early, right? They both went down early, and including, we talked about Midlothian Heritage being down at the half, and how they responded, particularly in the second half. It says a lot about their the character, the championship pedigree, the coaching, the adjustments, the ability to keep the composure and not freak out, right? Not be kind of taken hostage by the stage, by the moment. So Bernie will advance to the state title game once again, and they will take on the winner of our next match here, which we are about to discuss. So Salina and Stephenville. This match took place. It was the last match of the evening today. Started at approximately 6:30 p.m. there at Birkelbach Field. Stephenville came in 21-3-1 on the season. So actually, they came in with identical records. Salina with the exact same record. Thoughts on this one, Coach?
Yeah, this was an interesting matchup because you had two teams that weren't really the favorites in their regions. There was a couple other schools that were favorites. Maybe more little Salina a little bit, but like I know it was Stephenville because you had teams like Argyle and you had Diamond Hill Jarvis. St. Ellie. Region 1 is loaded as far as 4A soccer. Region 1 is a gauntlet, and somehow Stephenville was able to get pulled through and make it here. Salina, like I said, they had to contend with a couple East Texas teams, like Kilgore, some of the area Dallas teams. Like they had to beat a team, the Nevada Community, that they split the season series.
Right.
As part of their district. So it was gonna, on paper, look like an even match. Pretty much, probably could say it was gonna be an evenly matched game. Because like I said, both had 3 losses to quality teams. So, but I think Salina, like I said, just showed they had a little more as far as in this game. Jumping on them on a 4-0 lead said something there, and they were able to hang on because, like I said, Stephenville did roar back with a couple quick goals, but they just couldn't get that third goal. Had they gone the third goal, who knows how this game could have. You would have probably seen like the game yesterday, like the Chelsea Real Madrid game.
Right.
Be up by a lot, and then give up 2 goals and losing it in overtime. So, but kudos to Salina to get that 5th goal in to kind of seal the deal. So.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, and then I guess for this game I think both teams had to work hard, but I think Salina really had to work hard for this one, and we'll see how much it took out of them because, I'm sure they got a little scared when Stephenville came back into it, and now they have, like I said, they're gonna have to face. Can they knock off the defense? Here's the thing: both Salina boys and girls are trying to go for the double.
For the double, yeah.
Double championship. So, but they got to knock off. Both of them have to knock off a defending state champ to do that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's become an interesting dynamic here, right? So the worthy foe, the worthy challenger in Salina versus the 2 defending state champions. So they're going to make for great matchups. So yeah, the Salina Stephenville matchup earlier tonight was an interesting one because Salina goes up 2-0. And you kind of largely got the impression that not that they were cruising, but that they had it under control, right? Stephenville was trying to push through, trying to break through, but you kind of got the impression Salina had control. And then it was 2-0 early in the second half, and then Salina puts 2 more on them quickly in about a 5-6 minute span, and next thing you know, it's 4-0. 4-0. And then Stephenville bounces right back, gets bags 2. It's now 4-2 with about 10, 11 minutes to go. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, it gets everyone's attention again, right? And then inside of the final 4 minutes, Salina is able to bag the fifth goal to put it away, and just ice it at that point. So the final score, this one ends Salina 5, Stephenville 2, which leads us to our 4A boys state final, which will now, this one, unlike the girls, which is tomorrow, the boys 4A final will not be played until Friday. So these teams will they basically get a day of recovery there in between, and this matchup will take place just like the girls tomorrow. The boys 4A final will take place on Friday at 2:30 p.m. And again, that will feature the defending state champion in the Bernie Greyhounds, who will come in at 26-2-1 versus the Salina Bobcats, who will be coming in at 22-3-1 on the season. I think should make for a great matchup, I think. But again, that match will be Friday, 2:30 p.m., and it'll be sandwiched in between the 6A girls semifinals, the set of semifinals, and the boys set of semifinals. So yeah, something important to remember. So, all right, well, that's a quick look at today, and that'll lead us into tomorrow. So, in addition to the 4A girls final that we mentioned, that'll take place tomorrow between Salina and Midlothian Heritage. Starting off the day tomorrow, we will kick off the day with our 5A girls, who will start us off with our first match at 9:30 a.m. between Magnolia and Frisco Wakeland, followed by the second 5A girls semifinal matchup slated for approximately 12 p.m. between Grapevine and Bernie Champion. So then again, we'll have the 4A girls final there after those two, and then after the girls 4A final, we'll have the evening matches at approximately 5 p.m. You'll have the Dripping Springs boys versus Katy Jordan, and then at approximately 7:30 p.m. Fort Worth Trimble Tech, the Fort Worth ISD school that's gotten a lot of people's attention, versus the Power, right? The kind of the reigning dynasty there, if you will, so to speak, in Frisco Wakeland. So all great matches. Again, these times are all approximate, always subject to change. But one interesting note on today, Coach, is that not a single, knock on wood, I don't know, some people feel differently about it, but not a single overtime, and obviously no matches going to penalties.
Which could be different tomorrow. I think there could be a couple games, just looking at the matchups tomorrow, Grapevine and Bernie Champion is going to be a great one. That I could see that one going to extra time. Same thing with the Dripping Springs and Katy Jordan. Those are, Katy Jordan may be kind of like the new kid on the block, but they've run through a gauntlet of really tough Region 3 teams that you can't discount, and then that Cinderella Trimble Tech team that no one's talked about all season. This is a David and Goliath game. Right. Can Trimble Tech knock off the dynasty, and then take on to going to the next game and so forth. So it's a lot. Like I said, it's an interesting a lot of interesting matchups, and even like I said, the other one was another one is going to be the Magnolia girls. You had a lot of great things to say about them, and they got a tough one too with the Frisco Wakeland. So your Houston-Dallas matchup right there. Yeah. So pretty interesting matchups here. But like I said, you guys are a couple of perennial powers that have been there and done that. Are they going to step up again, or are they going to usher in new traditions, new powers when it comes to this high school soccer scene?
Yeah, I've been pretty big on Magnolia throughout the year, especially as you started seeing them and progressing in district, and you kind of started seeing their identity really take hold in their district. I think Frisco Wakeland has the name, and obviously they have lots of firepower and highly skilled athletes. But yeah, I think Magnolia is going to come to play. You're 24 1-2 on the year versus Frisco Wakeland 21 1-4 on the year. But Magnolia has also played a very, very good schedule, very strong schedule. So I think they'll be ready. And then you talked about, Grapevine and Bernie Champion. Yeah, I think if there's a match that maybe is screaming overtime or possibly beyond, it might be that one. Bernie Champion, how does Bernie Champion respond after coming off of that, that monumental win? I'm not going to really call it an upset because that was kind of the one that we thought might have, if anyone could beat Drip, it would be them.
Yeah.
But it's still a huge win, right? A huge win. So, and it's their first time returning to the state tournament since 2017. So I'm sure Coach Carol Walters will have them ready for sure. So, all right, Coach. Well, hey, that's going to do it for today's. Again, remember, we're trying to make these a little shorter, make them recaps, look at the next day. So we'll be joining you tomorrow after that last match, and there is a possibility that it might be coming a little late, just depending upon how tomorrow plays out. Because I'm pretty sure we're destined to see some sort of overtime somewhere tomorrow. So
there's games.
Yeah. 5 matches on the day, so you already know things aren't going to go exactly to plan in terms of schedule. So. After tomorrow's final, that 5A boys semifinal match between Fort Worth Trimble Tech and Frisco Wakeland, we will come to you. We'll try to shoot for within about 15 to 30 minutes of that match. We will obviously put that out on social. Again, for our listeners, our supporters, thank you for all you do. Thank you for your support. Get that word out there. Obviously, you'll also be able to listen to this on the audio version, the podcast on all our major platforms. Go there, like us, rate us, subscribe us. Hopefully, give us a rating if you like what you hear. If you think we stink, give us good feedback, as well. But definitely trying to make the product better as well. So, congratulations again to all teams that won and advanced to state finals today. But also equally congratulations to our teams that came up on the short end today. Want to congratulate them on great seasons as well. So you got to remember, this is a tournament of champions because every team playing here at the state tournament, they're all regional champions. So they had to kind of walk the gauntlet just to arrive here. So kudos to all teams. Coach, any final thoughts?
Just like I said, looking forward to tomorrow. See how the results turn out as far as the 5A, semifinals, and also the girls final for 4A. Will we have a new champion, or will we have a repeat? We'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow. And then looking as far as with the San Antonio Soccer Roundtable, like I said, I think usually we'll have a Wednesday show, but we'll have a recap show of the state tournament next week. So we'll have that. So anybody watching, we'll be on that next week. And then also, looking forward for Saturday's game with El Paso, the Copa Tejas. Just be on the lookout. I think we're gonna have a Copa Tejas. I know Harry's working on something, having the Copa Tejas show, like a preview for that. So
gotcha.
Just be on the lookout for that.
Good deal. Yeah. So a reminder, we'll be coming to you approximately. We'll try to shoot for about no later than 30 minutes after tomorrow's final match. And then we will do the same. Obviously, tomorrow being Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday we will not. After the final matches, we will come to you Easter Sunday in the afternoon. So we'll recap. We'll look at the 6A. Excuse me. We'll look at the 5A and 6A finals, and then we'll also put a bow tie on things, and we'll look at the end of season. We'll talk about a bunch of things. A bunch of particular aspects, components, particularly just the excitement of realignment and what districts are going to look like next year across the state. I know we'll probably talk a little bit in terms of what districts the excitement of what they're going to look like here in the in the San Antonio area as well as the Austin area, particularly San Antonio, just because you have some big programs that are coming down from 6A to 5A. So it's pretty, and then you have some programs that are going from 5A to 6A. So it's going to make for some great stuff when everybody comes back next year. So, all right. So thank you again for our listeners, our supporters. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Get that word out there. Give us ratings, and we'll be coming back. We will see you tomorrow. But until the next time, you know what to do. Keep downloading and keep listening.
You've been listening to the 50/50 Podcast, powered by College Promoters USA. Help us continue to grow by liking, rating, and subscribing on all major podcast platforms. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at 50_50pod, on Instagram at 50_50 podcast, as well as on YouTube at the 50_50 podcast. Until the next time, keep downloading and keep listening.